Careful with the frontal. Horrifying Shrill needs to be interrupted. Interrupt the web bolts with any extra interrupts or CCs you might have. Watch the green circles. Horrifying Shrill. Nice interrupt. Frontal again, watch this poison circle. Try to run it off everybody. Nice. Right, pull the next pull. Blowing up our bones. Make sure you're interrupting the web bolt. Sadly, sliced bread died. Oh, mana. Oh, I walked into those. Someone broke that. I would have pulled the rest of the ads with these, but there's actually a bleed cast from the rest of the ads. So if the healer needs mana, I don't want to risk people dying because they'll bleed. Hence we are pulling smaller. Oh, I don't have a target. Do I have mage food? Oh, yeah. Don't have a target, but I do have mage food. Oh, it's already on my bar. No, it's on the right side of my bar. Alright, pull in Noct. Remember, Noct has an AoE cast called Call of the Brood. You want to make sure you're using a defensive during the Call of the Brood cast. Also, it's kind of cool, but all three of these guys have their own names. This is Noct, that's, I want to say Attic, and the first one, I don't remember his name. We're going to call him Simon. Interrupt web bolt. Watch the webs on this pole. Frontal. Poison bolt again. Frontal again. Be careful of the frontal. %20 left on the ad. After this ad dies, we're going to mount, run across the bridge, and then go left. need to get closer. Alright, pull on the spider. When shrill voice remains, webs begin to shake. The attendants have been silenced. Something emerges. You know, I wonder if the attendants were silenced because this giant spider would go eat them all. Focus the ads. Watch the webs. Nice. All our webs are stacked very cleanly. Alerting shrill, spiders are hatching. Focus the spiders. Somehow that Death Knight makes Death Knights look fast, the way he moves. It's kind of awesome, actually. Careful with the webs. Okay, so we cannot be in this corner. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, what's the worst thing a Death Knight could do during this boss fight? And it's not dying. Abomination limbs. Abomination limbs are definitely the worst thing a Death Knight could do. If you're a Death Knight and you're fighting this boss, I 100% recommend you do not use Abomination limbs. Alright, so here we are in the same circumstance, but this time there are webs by the rocks. Spiders are right here. Right beside the boss. Hey, they got him. Oh boy. Trapped our rogue. Nope, he freed himself. 18% left on the boss. %. Spiders are coming across the webs. Nice. Alright, we have 5 seconds on Abomination Limbs, so we are going to go all the way across the bridge. Because we did not proc Purgatory, and we will have Abomination Limbs by the time we reach the end. Careful with the web bolts, make sure you're interrupting the web bolts. Watch that frontal. Can't use that yet. Again, web bolts. Make sure you're interrupting the web bolts. We are going to go left off of the bridge. In the past, we used to go... Wait, no, I mean, we are going to go right off the bridge. I'm facing the opposite direction as the party. Alright, so we are going right off the bridge. In the past, we used to go left off the bridge. And I feel like it's faster, but harder. Also, you have a lot more percent to make up at the end. Right off the bridge gives you more percent, and I feel like it's easier for the party. Now, the first time we went left off the bridge, I actually didn't know where the end of the circle was, and I went to like here before the party asked me why I was going in a circle. It was hilarious, but we did time the key. So, I mean, in perspective, it was a good key. Again, make sure you're interrupting those web bolts. And watch out for the frontal. Any extra CCs also helps the healer out a lot. I am saving Abomination Limbs for the next pull. I don't think this pull will last 2 minutes. Web bolt. Alright, pull in the next pull. Your priority target here is going to be the Sentry Stag Shell. Oh, be careful of the frontal. The Sentry Stag Shell is going to try to call for help with his alerting shrill. You want to make sure that the Sentry Stag Shell does not get his help, because the Sentry Stag Shell will call more of these hulking blood guards. Nice catch there on the rogue's part. Was able to punch it last minute. Careful with these web bolts. Make sure you're interrupting the web bolts. Revolting volley. Four more mobs, and then we are good to... We're going to pull the 4 guys on the left with the 2 sentries and the guy in the doorway. Right, 2 more mobs. It is too far away. Nice. A little bit of lag there, but that's okay. Probably because I jumped and turned at the same time. Pulling the hulking blood guard. Careful on the stairs with the hulking blood guard. You don't want to get hit by his frontal. Slam, use a defensive. Remember that during his slam cast, everybody's going to take AoE damage. Frontal. And you want to focus on the hulking blood guard himself. Remember that all the little blood workers standing around the hulking blood guard are taking 50% reduced damage, because this dot that's on the hulking blood guard reduces all allies' damage taken by 50%. So you do want to be careful whenever you're in a pull with a hulking blood guard, and make sure you focus them down as quickly as possible. Healer says ready. Remember, first frontal is always on the tank. After the first frontal, there's going to be an infection that goes off. Then he's going to pick somebody with a red arrow and charge at that person. After he charges at that person, he will cast a frontal in their direction. The second frontal, after he casts that first one in their direction, will be on the tank again. So as the tank, you want to make sure that you go off to a side so that you do not throw the frontal at your party. Boss is enraged for 22 seconds. During these 22 seconds, you want to make sure you are inside of the clear area, which is going to be a circle that slightly moves around the boss during this fight. Remember, as the tank, if you step forward or back, the boss will follow you forward and back, but the circle may not, because the circle continues to go all the way around the boss in circles, regardless of if the boss steps forward or back. First frontal out of the circle is on the tank. Then we're going to do an arrow again. Careful with the arrow if it's on your head. So once he charges at that guy with the arrow, he is then going to do a frontal at that guy. Next frontal is on the tank, which I personally would recommend facing towards a wall. Also be careful with these infections. All these infections drop bugs everywhere. Not that you can really control that, just heads up and make sure you know that there are bugs everywhere. Right. Frontal on the lock. Second frontal after the one on the lock's always on the tank. Nope, we got a circle. I should say with the exception of a circle or something. Silken restraints. Make sure you're interrupting silken restraints. Watch the frontal. Careful with these circles. So as the tank, I would always recommend standing on the back side of the circle. And the reason I recommend standing on the back side of the circle is so that you bait the circles, the earthquake, into the poison. You want to ideally bait the circles so that they go into the poison and they're not going into the circle where the rest of your party is. 2% left. 1, 0. Do we still have music playing? Alright. Blight Overseer. Venom Volley is going to be your priority interrupt, which erupting webs. Alright, for the winged carriers, what I do is I drop my Death and Decay, and when they fly over the Death and Decay, they'll actually drop all their blood into the Death and Decay, and then we won't have to worry about blood dropping on us during this pull at all, because all the blood will have dropped in the Death and Decay and off to the side of the map, so we don't have to worry about it. Careful with the Blood Overseer. Make sure you're interrupting. Venom Volley. Grasping Slash. Be careful with this Grasping Slash cast from the reinforced drones. Remember that the Grasping Slash cast is going to reduce your movement speed by 30% for every stack you have. Are people going down the center again? This party has done nothing to prove that they can't do this big pull. But I really don't want to miss time on this key because we die on this big pull. So I'm going to pull it in 2 parts just to be safe. Not necessarily because our party can't, because our party has proved in every way that they will be able to do this big pull. Alright, we'll take these last guys to the next pull. Oh, except I'm super slow. Run in the next pull, slow motion. Careful with the blood. Venom Volley has to be interrupted. Erupting Webs. So now, the reason I'm tanking these guys on the back side of the room against the blood towers, even though it's a harder camera angle than if I tanked them on the edge, is because a lot of times the flying ads get pulled into these if you tank them on the other edge. If you tank them here by the blood canisters, I've noticed that the flying ants, they are less likely to get pulled. Alright, after this we're going downstairs. And then we are going to pull the 2 blood overseers with the flying ants. Can't mount. Oh, don't jump there. That would not be good. Oh, smart. Alright, pulling the blood overseers. Careful with the carriers. Watch the circles. Why not? Oh. My guy said I cannot use that item yet, but used it anyways. Careful with the webs. Watch those blood overseers. Venom Volley needs to be interrupted, which we've actually been getting like every interrupt on that, which is really good. %28 left on this ad. Erupting webs. Careful with this poison. The poison's at a weird angle. It's like not straight like everybody else's poison. Watch the webs. Careful this cosmic blast. Make sure you are inside of a blood circle. Oh, my bad. It says stepped on one, but I'm pretty sure I was on his head with the poison. Erupting webs, grasping, poison. Oh yeah, he had everything hit him actually. Careful with the poison.